is as well planned as the architecture of the city. We stop at a recurring icon, an image of a priest.
Aren't these fabulous?
That's amazing. So what can these tell us about the people of Teotihuacan?
Well, we could learn a lot more if we had more. We probably have about 1.1% of their mural artwork remaining. But in general, the mural paintings of Teotihuacan are really representing state symbolism as trying to be really a state propaganda. Even in your own house, on the inside of your house, you're not allowed to pick what you're going to put on your walls. You are going to have a state-mandated theme inside your house, so it's visually mesmerizing everybody into saying, we're the greatest, we're the best, go team.
Really? So there's some sort of programming going on through the murals?
Yes, definitely. And it works very, very well.
The mural art was like a political campaign for the elite. Archaeologists believe these ornate drawings of high priests' ritual and sacrifice were painted on the walls in every single home in the city, burning their message into the minds and the hearts of their people. It's as if the murals were used to impose the will of the state on every individual. Was this the climate in which the sacrificed soldiers lived? A climate where they might have accepted that they'd one day give their lives up for the state. Kim takes me around the corner to see another mural. She thinks this room might have been a school.
They're really beautiful.
What we saw out there.
It's very different because this is more of a slice of everyday life. These are men playing all different kinds of games that I'm sure they must have played during the time period of the city.
Looks like here they're playing bocce or marbles or something.
Yeah, some kind of a ball game. And,
using balls, yeah.
And you have a fellow getting a piggyback ride right here. And
here's another
playing. This is very interesting. These two fellows are playing. Here's the ball. It looks like they're playing using their hips without being able to touch it with their hands. It looks like they're going to a lot of trouble to avoid touching it, in fact. Maybe it has even a continuance in modern times today, some relative of it.
What game? There is a game where they played in a court like this?
Some people play a game like it, very much so.
Everything in the City of the Gods had a religious or ritual aspect. If the rest of this culture is any indication, the game probably wasn't child's play. To find out if this game can offer me more insights into this imperial culture, I travel to western Mexico, where the game is still being played. Here, I meet Ricardo Urquijo, a local who knows a lot about the game, called Hip Ulama.
So this is the game, huh?
Yeah, this is Ulama. They're using a taste, which is the field ground, and here you have this line, which is right in the middle, and it's called analco. When they cannot respond, then that's a point for this team.
It's a bit like volleyball. Each team tries to hit the ball back to the other side. Except, of course, here, they're using their hips instead of their hands.
And how many points until you win?
8.
The game has a history dating back before the Aztecs, and even before the Teotihuacanos, stretching back some 4,000 years.
Ken, is it okay if I give it a try?
Sure.
Yeah?
Va a probar Josh con ustedes, muchachos.
Okay?
Yeah. Sure.
Well, you guys have your shoes off. Bring it on! That's to me. Ah. Ow.
Learning to play Ulama is all about learning to flick your hips. That and getting hit by an 8-pound ball.
I'll tell you one thing, when the ball hits you, you can feel it. It's heavy, and it's just like a massive amount of rubber. I'm gonna have a nice bruise to play, but it's fun.
This is seemingly playful stuff, an innocent ball game. But it turns out it wasn't innocent at all. This game between competing teams may have symbolized the battle between the gods in the sky and the lords of the underworld. The ball itself may have symbolized the sun. The rulers of Teotihuacan took a physical game and turned it into a supernatural ritual. Once again, the heavy hand of the state made its mark on daily life.
So Ricardo, any sense of how the rules or the game has changed over the last 2,000 years?
They have changed a lot because in Teotihuacan days, the winner was sacrificed to the gods. To have fertility, good crops, rain.
So you'd want to die through this game?
Yes, right.
Because to me, as someone who's playing now, like I would think the loser would die. You know?
Right.
It's like, we beat you, you die. You know, but you're saying that actually it was the honor of the winning team to be sacrificed in one of the highest ways possible.
Yes, of course.
Okay, did we win or lose? I don't know.
Well,
I hope I lost.
I'm glad to be going back unharmed. Well, mostly. But I've learned something. In Teotihuacan, the dominance of this state was so complete that for centuries, people were asked to give up their lives for it in war and in peace. Coming up, what happens when the state doesn't keep its end of the bargain? I'm trying to understand the mysterious city of Teotihuacan. I've crawled into volcanic glass mines, examined human bones, and played one of the world's oldest sports. Once, people gave up their lives for this all-powerful state. But no city can last forever. It's time to explore how it fell. A vital clue is found in an unlikely substance: lime. When originally constructed, each pyramid was plastered with lime, which was then beautifully painted by artists. Elizabeth Soyero, a scientist who's studying the impact Teotihuacan had on its environment, is exploring a theory that's becoming increasingly
What's going
popular.
on here?
This is an oven where the Teotihuacans produced lime to plaster the pyramids.
So how do you make lime? Does it need a lot of wood?
They needed a lot, yeah.
Lime is really just burnt and powdered limestone mixed with water. And to make lime from scratch, I'd have to keep this kiln burning at 800 degrees for at least 8 hours. That would take a lot of wood. Back in the day, the city was surrounded by thick forests.
When the Teotihuacans started to live here, all the mountain was plenty of pines.
If we were here 2,000 years ago, there were trees here, pine trees. Wow.
Elizabeth tells me that to get a sense of how much lime was used by the city, I'll have to make some lime mortar myself.
Okay, that's all.
Wow, that's hot.
Yeah, because the reaction is very strong and produce heat.
Wow, a lot of heat. It's impressive.
In order to maintain their
Should
city,
I keep adding water?
the Teotihuacanos plastered and replastered the walls again and again. To do this, they would have probably kept kilns burning around the clock. It's been estimated that they used roughly 30,000 tons of wood each year to build and maintain the plaster on the city. That's about 3,000 acres of forest, cut down and burnt each year over centuries. It's as if they were smearing their forests all over their walls. The forests never recovered from this abuse. Neither did the city. The resulting soil erosion slashed farm productivity, setting the stage for crisis.
Scientists believe that during the final days of Teotihuacan, pine forests, like this one, were almost completely wiped out. At the same time, the city began to spiral out of control. Was environmental degradation caused by humans the real reason the city of the gods collapsed? What was the final straw?
Once again, the answers may lie in the graves.
Audio space here.
Okay.
Mike is taking me to a grave in one of the apartment complexes. Apparently, Teotihuacanos frequently buried their relatives right in their own courtyard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been excavated by the archaeologists and then they've resealed it.
Okay.
I've already seen the graves of elite soldiers, sacrificed with riches to the gods. Now Mike wants to show me what archaeologists found in the graves of average citizens.
So this is a kind of material that was found in graves. And you can see it's a sort of reflection of the wealth of Teotihuacan. You've got green stone, you've got marine shell, you've got coral, all of this coming in from some distance away.
These may not look like much to you and me, but these objects were treasured by the people of Teotihuacan. The kind of things you'd bury with a loved one. For centuries, people knew they'd take some of these things with them to their graves. But all that changed as the forests got depleted.
Wow, so these types of items were found in graves like that?
Yes.
Throughout Teotihuacan?
Well, not entirely. They were in the earlier years of Teotihuacan. This wealth seemed to flow fairly freely throughout the city. Some people had less than others, but everybody had some.
And then that changed?
In the later years, yes. That kind of material would be found only in the graves of the richer people toward the center of the city.
So we're seeing a polarization of the wealth
classes. There's a growing gap between the upper class and the lower classes.
So it sounds like something is changing internally at Teotihuacan.
Something's going drastically wrong in the last century or so.
What environmental factors?
Once again, it's the teeth that tell the story.
We examined the teeth, and we were able to see these lines of growth interruption in their teeth, and those increased late in the apartment compound history. So that people were apparently suffering a lot of episodes of growth interruption, which means episodes of infection, malnutrition, perhaps trauma.
Yeah.
Teotihuacan, it seems, had gotten too big to sustain itself. With the forests depleted, the farmlands insufficient to sustain the dense urban population, the city was literally crumbling under its own pressure. But did people just abandon it and migrate elsewhere? I head back to Linda Manzanilla to put the final pieces together. She has startling new evidence that the city was deliberately burned.
On the top, we have excavated them, and we see the burning of the city around 550 AD.
These mounds are the remains of Teotihuacan's administrative center, still in the early stages of excavation.
So this is what it looks like before archaeologists clean it all up.
Right. This is how
These tarps are here to protect some of the most important archaeological evidence yet discovered at Teo.
For example, you see here the stucco floors originally were white, and you have
black.
The ceiling collapsing, and the beams are burning and falling.
That's what this says to an archaeologist. You
Yes.
can tell by looking at this, because to me I can see the discolorations here.
Yes.
But you're saying that 1,500 years ago, a ceiling collapsed on fire and fell here.
Well, I knew you were going to ask that, and I brought a sample of the carbonized wood of the...
When excavations began here in the early 90s, Linda's team found the charred remains of massive roof beams littering the floor, as if from a great fire. A fire that marked the end of a civilization. Carbonized wood is fragile, so Linda has brought only this tiny sample. The rest has been removed and carefully tested to determine the date of the fire.
So we have the dates of the construction of the white part, and then the dates of the fall with the black part.
Why does this fire say internal revolt and not just wildfire came through and burned everything?
Because the fire was selective, particularly in the temples and the places where the rulers and the decision-making was made.
So a wildfire, if it did come in and burn, would have burned everything indiscriminately.
All the site, right.
For centuries, Teotihuacan's rulers dominated every aspect of life, even demanding the ultimate sacrifice. In return, they promised to bless and protect the people. When these promises fell flat, it seems the people exacted the perfect revenge on their masters and their monuments. It was a no-confidence vote on the existing power structure, carried out on an unsurpassed scale. Overnight, this magnificent metropolis that dominated the region for centuries was reduced to a shadow of its former self, never to rise again. A civilization that thrived on order collapsed in chaos.